so ready to kick things off. We have the fist bump, and we are underway in this grand finals.
Here we go. This finals is underway, and a draw and a pass from Jack Carter. Is that what I just saw?
I think that is what you just saw, Chip. That's what I saw. So
wow.
That is incredible. We are over here on Raymond's side now, but I believe this is the second turn of the game.
So
Raymond going second.
Raymond is able to attack this turn. It is technically possible for Raymond to win, but this is a more slow build of Lost Box, focusing on the Kyogre, right, and most other matchups. So we're not going to really see too much of a pop-off with something like a Raikou or a Dragonite coming in to take the knockout on Greninja turn 1. So Jack can at least breathe a sigh of relief there, but yeah, this setup not ideal. Now Battle VIP Pass is not going to be live for Jack moving forward.
Yep.
You're going to have to hope to find some Colress, some Comfey, or something to get things rolling next turn.
Absolutely. It's a race to the prize cards here. So the fact that Jack Carter just had to draw, pass, nothing here that he could do in the hand is detrimental. You lose an entire turn here. And you need absolutely every edge that you can get, especially in a sort of mirror match. So Raymond Long going to be able to kind of take this turn. We're starting with that Battle VIP pass. So taking a look through the deck here and is going to be able to draw out some Pokemon, but also keeping track of prize cards as well.
Yeah, so we should take a moment to kind of mention some key cards for both of these players in this matchup. So Raymond isn't really teched for the mirror, so to say. Does have one copy of Roxanne in the deck that absolutely could come up at the end of the game, try to disrupt Jack, leave him with just one couple cards in hand, 2 cards in hand, and then try to clear the board with something like a Sableye. And also does have an Echoing Horn, which is just kind of natural in Kyogre. It just turns out it can be pretty nice in a matchup like this one as well. You could find yourself in a situation where you can board lock your opponent, keep them off of Sableye. And that really is the big attacker for both of these players in this matchup, is that Sableye. You want to be lost mining as quickly as possible, and you want to be lost mining as often as possible. Spread those damage counters, take multiple prizes in a turn. And it's going to be a little easier for Jack Carter to stream Sableyes because he's actually playing one copy of Clara in the list and also one copy of Powpad. So that makes it a lot easier to keep those Sableyes rolling turn after turn after turn, just being able to add them into your hand. And then even if you need to, you can Powpad back that Clara once again.
So a lot of consistency options there. That's great to have for sure in this long game because, yeah, don't be mistaken. Even though we could see multi-prize knockouts from either of these players, this is going to be a long game.
Wow, this hand is just, wow, this hand has nothing going on for Jack. No energy, no nest ball. And the draw for turn was possibly the worst one he could have gotten.
Was it Battle VIP?
It was a Battle VIP.
No. Oh my goodness, no playable cards from Jack Carter, not a single card in the discard pile here. We're over back to Raymond Long's turn. This is definitely not panning out how I thought it would be.
Almost an unbelievable sequence of cards from Jack.
Yeah.
I mean, it has to be the perfect combination of just unplayable card after unplayable card. Raymond gonna happily send this Pokestop to the Lost Zone. You don't want to put that in play and give your opponent a chance to make something happen.
3 cards in the Lost Zone now.
And one more thing, too, the 2 copies of Energy Recycler ditched right away. Normally such an important piece for the Kyogre, but you can see right away, Raymond isn't really going to try to go for the Kyogre more than likely. I think actually it's more likely to see a Surf from Kyogre than it is to see an Aqua Storm in this matchup. I have actually surfed in the mirror match before.
Are you serious? Wow. Okay.
Hey, listen, Kyogre's got 130 hit points. It's pretty annoying to KO. And Surf KOs basically everything else in your opponent's deck.
That is very true, Chip. Well, I would be interested to see that. But yeah, it's funny. I was talking about how slow of a grind this matchup can be, but honestly, it is not looking like that at this point in time. Raymond Long is just ages ahead here with so many cards already stacked up into the Lost Zone, and Jack have not even played a card yet. So this is wild to see. We see 2 Comfeys have already been used here. And yeah, we're just stacking cards up, and we still have lots of cards to go in the hand.
And the thing is, though, with the way Raymond's deck is built, there's no Dragonite, there's no Raikou. So even if Raymond gets to 7 in the Lost Zone, which we see right now, I don't think that there's anything Raymond can do to take the knockout. The only attacker that could possibly swing for enough to knock out the Radiant Greninja would be Pidgeot V, which does require you to flip a coin to do that extra damage.
Well, Chip, we got a top deck here of a nest ball. So
Okay.
this is at least something Jack can do, playing this nest ball and going through the deck. But I mean, you can just see it on Jack's face right now. This is absolutely horrible to see.
Did you hear him?
What did he say?
I'm a little behind.
I would say so,
Yeah.
Jack. Yep, and sometimes that's just how it happens. For some reason, I feel like this always seems to happen in our finals or like our top 4 matches.
Yeah.
But hey, that's Pokemon TCG. We have Escape Rope here for Jack at least. So we're going to get a flower selecting, and it's going to be easy choice, Battle VIP
And
pass.
for the Pokestop, okay, let's see what this hits. A boss goes down. Only an escape rope. That's not super helpful.
Yep, just an escape rope there. Of course, the items and the tool cards are separated now into their own categories. So, yep, Pokestop played, but just a little bit of utility there for Jack Carter. It's just going to be a pass over to Raymond Long. Back in the driver's seat here for this turn. What is the hands looking like? Did you get a peek at it, Chip?
Yeah, it looks like there's a couple nest ball, a few energy. I think if Raymond could, if he could pick out what he wants to try to do this turn, it's definitely to try to use Sableye. Try to get to 10 in the Lost Zone. You need 3 more and try to get that Lost Mine off. 1 flower selecting and 1 Colress can make that happen.
Yep.
Cramorant as an attacker obviously still works. I mean, Raymond is so far ahead, and Jack still just really has nothing going on. Raymond does play 1 copy of Lost Vacuum. That would be a pretty good card to find if you can try to get rid of this Pokestop in play. It would, of course, fuel your opponent's Lost Zone just a little bit, but your opponent, you basically know, is really riding heavy on this Pokestop being able to do something.
Yeah, that would be super pivotal here for Raymond to be able to bump. We'll see if that happens here, but the Lost Zone continuing to stack up. Chip, you were talking about the MVP for both of these players is Sableye, but both of our players have to get to 10 in that Lost Zone to be able to use the Sableye and that Lost Mine. Luckily for Raymond Long here, we are going to see that Hisuian Heavy Ball have some utility to get that Radiant Greninja out of the prize cards.
Yeah, the thing I worry about, though, is if you put this Greninja down, you don't have bench space for a Sableye, and that's kind of a position you don't want to find yourself in as a Lost Box player in the mirror match. Now, you do have Radiant Greninja, and you do have Cramorant, and you are so far ahead. It's like basically impossible for Jack to get off a Lost Mine this turn. Technically possible, but based on the hand, you know your opponent's done nothing for 3 turns pretty much. It's so improbable. Getting the extra damage in play with Greninja is probably fine, but honestly, as Raymond, I would leave this bench space open. Don't give your opponent any sort of opening.
Don't lock anything up here. We'll see if Raymond chooses to keep that path of play going, but that Hisuian Heavy Ball is going to switch out the Radiant Greninja, so at least it's out of the prize cards to be used later on if Raymond wants to. And yep, that Lost Zone at 8 cards now.
Yep. Just missing the Colress, and I don't see it in the hand at the moment.
Yeah, lots of cards, but no Colress's Experiment yet.
Debating benching the Colress. We'll see if he goes that route. Can
or the
Beach
Radiant
Court.
Greninja? You said bench the Colress.
It's been a long weekend, Boo.
Yes, it has.
Benching the Radiant Greninja, probably trying to dig for the Colress.
Yep, for sure. But Beach Court is going to be the stadium bump here. So retreat cost of basic Pokemon is 1 colorless less. So that's just going to be a nice free retreat there on that Comfey into the Cramorant. Bench space kept open here for Raymond Long. And it's going to be first to the prize cards here for Raymond as well.
Jack does find possibly the best card he could have drawn off the top of the deck, and that is a Colress Experiment. Yes. Nice. So we'll see if it's got to be like the perfect 5 cards. There are so many switch cards in the hand. There's just no Pokemon to move into. So if Jack can get a couple Comfey, it's reasonable that we could see something happen this turn. And speaking of Comfeys, there's one and a Nest Ball.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just shocked, Chip, looking at this board state. We're several turns into this game, and this is just something I've never seen from a Lost Box deck.
Normally so consistent.
Yeah, it's so consistent. There's so many cards and outs to things, but Jack Carter is just now stumbling into those. So we have that Colress's Experiment that's going to bring our Lost Zone on Jack's side up to 3 here now, and at least 1 Comfey on the field. We're going to have that switch cart bring that Comfey into the active for a flower selecting first.
And this will now be 4 cards in the Lost Zone, so Jack will be able to now use his own Cramorant to go after Raymond's Cramorant. Of course, 110 is the amount of HP, but also the amount of damage that you are able to use with Spit Innocently into Nest Ball. I totally expect to see Cramorant coming down now.
Yep, we're going to have some more cram on cram action here, Chip. We see it very often in this mirror match. And yep, no surprise there. Cramorant joining the field here for Jack Carter. And we're going to see how else Jack can progress this turn, or if that's going to be kind of it.
Yeah, Raymond's lack of aggression in those early turns has allowed Jack to very much stay in this game. If Raymond had gone turn 2 attack with Cramorant or turn 1, but even turn 2, it would have put Jack on so much more of a clock. Raymond wasn't able to do that, and now things are tied up. Jack is starting to stabilize a little bit. Does have 4 cards now in that Lost Zone, able to use that Spit Innocently for free thanks to Lost Provisions.
Yep, so Raymond Long first to the prize cards, but Jack Carter not far behind there, taking a prize card here in that turn. And we're back over to Raymond. Gonna bench that Radiant Greninja now that Cramorant is wiped off the field here. So we'll be able to utilize that potentially for some concealed cards here in the turn. And that's what we're gonna see first here from Raymond. Draw into 2, it's gonna be the Echoing Horn.
I think a Super Rod is the other one.
And a Super Rod. Gonna take a look as well through Jack Carter's discard pile, keep track of the resources on the other side of the field.
And there is a Comfey in the discard pile. Something that would be pretty strong for Raymond if he can accomplish it would be attacking with Radiant Greninja here. Bring it up to the active spot, and then you'd be able to attack into Comfey, and then another Comfey that you eventually Echoing Horn out.
Wow, yeah, that would be extremely strong here. Lost Zone up to 9 now for Raymond Long.
Is going to play a Super Rod, it looks like, putting back Cramorant and a couple energy. That's what this looks like it's being prepped for.
Yeah, just looking through the discard pile to see what is there. And then we are going to see that Super Rod to shuffle those cards back into the deck. So it's going to be the Psychic Energy and the Water Energy in that Pokemon.
Looks like Raymond does have the Mirage Gate. Probably going to see a couple energy coming down to Radiant Greninja. If there's a Water Energy in the hand, we know that that Echoing Horn is already available. And thanks, of course, to the Beach Court, this Comfey can move to the bench.
Very nice.
Greninja will come active, and we will see a 2-prize turn, which gets Raymond so much farther ahead in the prize trade, but also will take the Comfey out of play for Jack.
Yeah, that is huge here, Chip. Looks a little bit confusing because that Radiant Greninja is upside down, but it's not confused here. That concealed cards was just used, and it's upside down to signify that the ability was used there.
Yep, that's what Raymond's been doing all weekend long in order to remember that his abilities have been used.
I like it.
Actually not using the Echoing Horn here. Pretty interesting. Just setting up some damage on this Cramorant. Maybe wants to save the Echoing Horn play for a little later in the game. I think cashing in on that as soon as you can is pretty strong. You're just giving your opponent a chance to get Manaphy down, to limit the Greninja ever being able to do that again. So I really would have liked to have seen Raymond just go ahead and cash in. Maybe he's a little worried about Jack playing something like a Roxanne. That is something the Lost Box decks do play from time to time. Of course, Raymond is playing a copy of his own Roxanne. So maybe playing around that a little bit. That's the only thing I could think of is why Raymond wouldn't want to take that KO.
Yeah, I guess choosing to go a different route here, just put that damage onto the Cramorant, which of course does not take the knockout. We're over on Jack's side. We've already used concealed cards on that Radiant Greninja, and we're going into a Colress's Experiment now, making a choice, and there's a lot of energy drawn into that Colress's Experiment.
A lot of energy and a Sableye, the ever-important piece of this matchup. Of course, Jack is still a little far away from getting to the 10 in the Lost Zone necessary to utilize it. But Manaphy is the other card, too, and you really don't feel like you can afford to get rid of that.
Yeah, you have to take the Manaphy for sure. I mean, well, I don't know. A lot of the cards are being shuffled around there for Jack Carter. It is an extremely tough call here. Every single resource counts in these Lost Box games, and Jack Carter is having to make this difficult decision here. But we'll have to see what he chooses to put into the Lost Zone here, bringing it up another 2 cards.
Yeah, I think you do have to get rid of the Sableye. Manaphy just really needs to be kept around, especially since your opponent kind of has this damage just waiting in play on the Cramorant. Of course, they can take it out with a Sableye at some point, but you really want to punish the fact that Raymond's trying to not take that extra prize at the turn that he could have.
Absolutely. We're going to see the escape rope here now from Jack. Raymond Long going to send up a Comfey here, and of course, the only Pokemon there is that Radiant Greninja for Jack.
And it will be a retreat and a hit with Cramorant. Jack now going down to just 2 prizes. I do like something that Jack is doing here, trying to limit the amount of low HP Pokemon put into play. Jack obviously could have put down a Comfey, could have used Flower Selecting. There's one in the hand, so, you know, Escape Rope could have sent that up, used Flower Selecting, Beach Court free retreat. We'd have been in the same spot. But a Comfey being in play is an easy target for the Sableye to chase after.
Yep, not wanting to put those liabilities down. We are tied up here in the prize cards, 4 for each of our players, but we're on Raymond Long's side of the field now. We have our first Flower Selecting. Looks like it's a difficult decision here because things are being measured up in the discard pile.
Yeah, the one card I definitely saw was the Pidgeot V, the single Pokemon V that Raymond plays in the list alongside 2 Forest Sealstone, and I think the other card is the Mirage Gate. So debating if it's okay to lose a Mirage Gate in order to keep your Pidgeot so you can use Forest Sealstone.
Yeah.
Looks like Raymond doesn't think it's worth it. Does decide to ditch that Pokemon V.
Yep, ditched into the discard pile here. Sableye is down on the field now as well with that Psychic Energy attached. That means Sableye is online here with that Lost Mine to get some damage counters out.
Going to be able to take out the Cramorant and stack up the damage onto the Radiant Greninja. Yeah. And we'll see if Raymond does decide to take the knockout on the Cramorant, and it actually looks like he is not. He is scared of Roxanne. That has to be what Raymond is worried about here.
That's got to be it, Chip. So just the damage being placed onto that Radiant Greninja. Jack Carter now able to do whatever he wants with this turn, but what is the hand looking like? I mean, there's a ton of cards in the hand for Jack, but where does he go from here, Chip?
Well, you definitely need to deal with the Sableye. With 6 cards in the Lost Zone, it is technically possible to get to 10 here. Of course, Colress is going to boost 2 more, and then if you find a Lost Vacuum and a Tool, which we do see right there, he could get to 10 and then utilize his own Sableye this turn with Lost Mine. And there's another way you can kind of punish your opponent for leaving too much damage in play, and that's if you play a bunch of switching carts in a turn. We see 1 in the Lost Zone. I think there's 1 in the discard pile, so there should still be a couple switch cart hanging around that could get some healing going. A surprisingly relevant card, the healing factor of switch cart in the mirror match.
Yep, Nest Ball being played here. Going to bring out a Raikou V onto the bench.
And this is another thing you can do for this version of the Lost Box deck. There's really only 1 card that Raymond has that can deal with Raikou right away, and that is the Zamazenta. So the Zamazenta can retaliate, take a knockout on the Raikou as just a single prize Pokemon. But other than that, Raikou can get you a little extra card draw. It's got a decent amount of HP, and it can pretty easily deal with the Sableye, so it might stick around for a couple turns.
Yeah, I think we saw that Zamazenta in the prize cards initially for Raymond's Long, but
we did, yeah.
Yeah, actually, it's still in there, I'm pretty sure. From the way the cards were drawn. But yeah, we'll see how this comes into play here.
We're going to see the concealed cards drawing a couple more here. Sableye and a Forest Sealstone. That unlocks a lot of potential here for Jack.
Yep. Just taking account here of that Lost Zone. 8 cards there for now for Jack Carter. So many cards in the hand.
Somehow has managed to just get so many cards still into this hand, even after such a poor and suboptimal start, to be honest.
Yeah, that's what this deck is meant to do, just stack tons and tons of cards into the hand from both sides of the field. We are going to see this Forest Sealstone here now from Jack Carter, allowing him to search out any card after the flip of that V-Star marker on the board. Of course, you can only use 1 V-Star per game. This is going to be the turn it's used for Jack Carter.
So it does choose to grab, it looks like is debating Switch Cart and Lost Vacuum. So Lost Vacuum would let you get to 10 cards in the Lost Zone. Right now, this turn, we could see a Sableye. Switch Cart would allow you to maybe heal a couple of these Pokemon, and it looks like Switch Cart will be the choice.
Going to start healing the damage up here for Jack Carter. As you said, Chip, all of this damage being added and being subtracted comes into play here because there's so much math happening from both of these players once the Sableyes start flying around.
Yeah, somehow, even with this pretty poor setup, Jack has just got so few cards left in the deck. He's really found a way to claw back in this game, and it's still anyone's opportunity to take game number 1 here, Boo.
Was that just a Mirage Gate for the Lightning energy on the Raikou?
Yeah, just the one. There was no other energy cards remaining in the deck.
None remaining in the deck here. Switch cart's going to be played now. Going to heal that damage off of the Cramorant, go into that Radiant Greninja, and we're going to see the double switch cart again to heal even more damage now into that Raikou V.
Yep, taking 60 damage out of play gives Raymond a lot less to work with. Fleet-footed, of course. Can't forget it. Get yourself one extra card. One thing to note, though, Jack here is going to be going down to just 3 prizes remaining, which means Raymond will be able to play that one of Tech Roxanne if he can find it.
If he can find it, indeed. We've been talking about how these decks stack cards into the hands. Let's see if Raymond Long has that card or can potentially get it this turn. Going to start with the Comfey back in the active position here. Top deck was a Mirage Gate for Raymond Long.
And does have that Roxanne hiding out in the hand. Really could be a devastating play here to see Raymond go for the Roxanne, put Jack to just 2 cards, but wouldn't be able to take a knockout on the Raikou. I guess you would want to try to do that all in a turn that you're taking a little bit more of a threat off the board. We know that it's not possible because Raymond has the Zamazenta and the Hisuian Heavy Ball on the prizes.
Yep, unfortunately. Yeah, I think that because the Hisuian Heavy Ball took the Radiant Greninja,
right.
Yeah, so already in there. Nest Ball going to be played here from Raymond Long. It's so hard to tell, like, what is the hand versus the discard pile in the deck because they're like all the
lost
same.
zone too.
Yeah.
Like
There's so many cards here.
Yeah, no switching of the hands or the lost zone or anything like that. Let's keep it all in order. It is easy to get those things mixed up, though.
Oh, yes, very easily done indeed. So Raymond Long going to play that Nest Ball, but I don't think anything was searched out there. Just going to fail the search and has to shuffle up after that Nest Ball.
Yeah, choosing to get nothing, maybe just getting rid of the Nest Ball before a potential Roxanne comes out. Of course, Greninja could still come up and take a knockout on the 2 Pokemon down here on the bench. Super Rod is going to put a couple energy back, most likely, and I assume the Sableye.
Yep, extremely important card here for Raymond. Oh, choosing to put that water instead of that metal energy back into the deck here off of the Super Rod. So 2 energy and a Sableye put back into the deck.
Yeah, feeling like I guess it's more likely that the Greninja will be used than the Zamazenta. Of course, we don't know when Raymond will be able to pull the Zamazenta out of the prizes, or Raymond doesn't know at least.
Very true.
It is technically a 50-50 chance to take the Zamazenta off the prizes because there's a Hisuian Heavy Ball and a Zamazenta there.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So either one of those lets you get it.
Yep, we're going to see the full bench now here from Raymond Long. Now that Sableye is back onto the field.
Yep, it is Lost Mine time.
Yep, Beach Court still in play here. Mirage Gate going to bring more energy out onto the field as well.
So I'm curious which way Raymond will go. I think you could Lost Mine to spread some damage. Another thing you could do as well is you could use Radiant Greninja to take out Cramorant and then just put 90 damage on the Raikou V so that it's easier to KO with something like a Lost Mine later on.
Yeah.
And you know your opponent is down all 4 switch cards. You can check that resource. There's 1 in the Lost Zone. There's 3 in the discard pile. And here it is, Boo. Roxanne.
Roxanne here, Chip. Insert popular song, right? Raymond Long.
I was leaving it open for you to sing the line.
I don't know if that's allowed here, Chip. But we are going to see that Roxanne that we've been talking about. This is the late game card, the 1 copy, I believe, right? In Raymond's deck of this Roxanne. And it's going to limit Jack down to just 2 cards.
Yeah, this is really the only thing in the deck for Raymond that is could be considered like a mirror tech, a lost box tech. It's probably more so just because it's solid draw at the very end of the game, which is something that Kyogre kind of just wants. You just want to be able to get a bunch of cards, but then it also has the added benefit of being a disruption option, and specifically in the mirror match, if your opponent doesn't expect you to play it, you can really, really put them behind.
Yup, Jack Carter only able to draw 2 cards here, whereas Raymond Long draws into 6 off of that Roxanne. We're seeing Jack take a quick look at the discard pile, what resources have been used here from Raymond's.
Yeah, so I think Sableye kind of taking out the Greninja and the Cramorant is probably good. Just put a little bit of extra damage there on the Raikou. Take your 2 prizes. I think one thing is for sure, you want to get rid of Greninja so that your opponent has just less draw options. Exactly. Yep. Thinking about where this damage is going to go with the Lost Mine. Let's see what he decides.
I'll put 120 on.
Oh.
Whoa.
Just going to stack it all on the Raikou.
120 here. That's all 12 damage counters being put onto that Raikou V. That means Jack Carter only able to draw into 2 cards here. Let's see if they could be used at all. Oh.
One of them is a Colress.
Nice.
That is pretty solid.
Colress's Experiments, and that's going to be even more cards here for Jack Carter to get. I don't see any energy there, so...
Looks like the Palpad, the Clara, Super Rod, Manaphy. One other card that is pretty easily chosen was the first one that Jack placed face down. And at this point, you know, Greninja's done a lot of work. It's effectively put 180 damage in play twice. So you are not going to really see too much value from the Manaphy, but does choose to keep it and actually ditches the Palpad and the Clara. I guess more likely Manaphy could be useful than getting back your Sableyes at this point, and you do still have Super Rod hanging around.
All right. Here we have Jack Carter just going to retreat out of that Radiant Greninja. Of course, that Beach Court still in play here, using that Fleet-Footed off of the Raikou as well to get that additional draw here for the turn. Gonna bump the stadium for a Pokestop, and we're Pokestopping here. Ooh, was about to be 3, but Dragonite V is gonna go into the discard pile here, but still 2 items drawn there for Jack Carter off the Pokestop.
Yeah, not too bad. Dragonite's actually usually a pretty bad attacker in the Lost Box Mirror because you just put a bunch of damage on your bench.
True.
Make it a little. You're doing Sableye's job for him.
It's true. Well, that's discarded away and just 2 nice items added to the hand here for Jack.
We're going to see Nest Ball is played, probably searching out a Sableye, putting that down. Maybe another potential target for Raymond to go after. And I think with all this damage set up here, knowing that 4 switch cards are down, Raymond probably is just doing everything he can to play around the potential of Roxanne. And he knows he's so far ahead at this point from board position, from damage in play, that there's really not much of a downside. He only plays single prize Pokemon. So, I mean, the only way that Jack can really ever punish this is if he went with the Sableye here and right away this turn took out the Manaphy. And I think that's the play that Jack probably has to go for. Normally you want to deal with the Sableye right away whenever it's in play. But if you take out the Manaphy here and potentially threaten your own Radiant Greninja to win the game next turn, force Raymond to find a way to get the Manaphy back, that's probably going to be Jack's best play, best opportunity to win this game.
Yep, we'll see if that's what happens here, Chip. It's just an escape rope. Raymond switching into that Comfey here, and Jack bringing up that Sableye that is so crucial to this final game plan, potentially here for Jack Carter.
And we'll see the Lost Mine damage. Where does Jack go with this?
4.
Okay, looks like he's spreading the damage out. 4 onto the Comfey, 4 onto the Manaphy, has 4 more to play with. Gonna just do another 4 onto the other Comfey. Kind of a common spread you see on these 70 HP Pokemon, putting 4, 4, 4 so that all of them are pretty unlikely to be able to be switch cart healed.
Yeah, that's true. There is healing potential here.
And even if they do heal down to just 10 damage, that's still 60 damage or 60 damage away from being KO'd, 1 damage counter remains.
Oh my goodness.
Which can help you, you know, even if they switch cart 2 70 HP Pokemon, you can still have enough damage in play to KO 2 of them,
Chip, I'll tell you what, that is way too much math for me. That's why I do not play this deck.
Just the life of a Lost Box player.
Yeah, absolutely. So much going on mentally when you're playing and piloting this deck for both of our players. But, yep, we are going to see that even spread of damage from Jack Carter. Of course, we're on to Raymond Long's turn. Now, Colress's Experiment was played, and that is what is currently being debated here from Raymond.
Does choose to ditch a Mirage Gate, obviously one of the more powerful cards, but at this point, I think Raymond is kind of set up just being able to try to go with Sableye turn after turn. You don't really need Mirage Gate so much if you just need to attach 1 energy.
Yeah, single energy onto that Sableye. You're already putting so much work into getting 10 cards in the Lost Zone. It's a easy energy requirement there.
Lots of cards to work with here for Raymond Long.
And even more on this flower selecting. Easy choice, Battle VIP pass going to the Lost Zone, and switch card going into the hand.
Escape rope now being played. What does Jack Carter promote? Pretty much anything could be KO'd relatively easily.
Yeah, Ryko V being promoted here for Jack Carter. We're going to see another flower selecting now from Raymond Long.
Yeah, got to be careful. Don't run out of cards. Of course, Raymond has several cards that put cards back into the deck. You know, Super Odd being one of them, lets you shuffle back 3 in any combination of Pokemon and energy. So that is something that's still alive. Of course, Pidgeot V is another card that Raymond plays. I guess we should remember that Pidgeot V was put to the Lost Zone earlier on.
We are going to see that switch card to heal up that Comfey once again, and that Manaphy.
Just taking as much damage out of play as possible, and it's Lost Mine time once again. And I feel like as Raymond, you should be at a point now where even if you think your opponent plays Roxanne still, your board is set up decently enough that you can start to take prizes. I don't want to say it too soon because
it's happened twice already.
Raymond has surprised me a couple times. Well, let's see what he does. Echoing Horn is going to bring that Dragonite V into play.
Are we going to be surprised again here, Chip? Echoing Horn.
Looks like it.
And bringing out the Dragonite V.
Yeah, just wants to. I think what Raymond is going for here is just a board wipe play, right?
I mean, it looks cooler for sure.
It definitely does, and there's really not much of a downside as to why you couldn't do this. Put everything into range where you can, next turn, you just have to put damage counters on the Cramorant, the Radiant Greninja, and the Raikou. All you have to do is be able to find a Sableye, play around the Roxanne, and then you can take all 4 prizes in one turn. There really is no downside to this because you know your opponent. This is like using the fact that you know your opponent is out of healing options since 4 switch cards are down.
Gotcha. So just because of this current board state is why we're seeing this strategy here from Raymond Long, something that maybe we wouldn't have seen in other scenarios here in this matchup. But Jack Carter going to do everything possible. Looks like just taking a look through that Lost Zone over on Raymond's side of the field before making any decisions here with this turn. But now where does Jack Carter go from here, Chip?
You definitely have to knock out this active Sableye.
Yep.
And you got to just cross your fingers that somehow your opponent misstepped something along the way, doesn't have access to Sableye or energy for whatever reason, and you can find a way to close it out.
Hope for the best. That's going to be a Pokestop for 3 item cards there for Jack Carter, something that he has done several times on our stream now, and once again doing it there.
Yeah, pretty nice. Anytime you Pokestop for 3 items, it's effectively a stadium that just lets you draw 3 cards, which is pretty good if you ask me.
Pretty good indeed. We're going to see some recovery here from Jack Carter, getting those energy back out of the discard pile with the Super Rod. And they're going to be shuffled back into the deck.
Yep, just putting 3 energy cards back in. Something to work for. Jack could go maybe for the honorable play of trying to Dragonite V this turn and KO his own Pokemon, go out on his own terms, right? Unfortunately, though, it doesn't quite work. Radiant Greninja has 100 damage on it, not 110.
That would also be wild to see here.
I don't think we're going to see that here in the finals now.
Nope, we're just going to see that retreat of the Raikou V into this Lost Mine of Jack Carter's own to spread this damage out. And another 2 prize cards now being taken from Jack Carter.
Jack has set the game up to be able to win on the next turn, but let's see if Raymond Long has the pieces to pull off the Sableye attack and Lost Mine for 4 prize cards. Super Rod is being played, putting it back into the deck, and I already see a Psychic Energy in hand.
Yup, this is the play we've been waiting for. Oh, we didn't get to see it fully carried out there, but Raymond Long taking a 4 prize card knockout here to win Game 1 in this set in our finals of Peoria Regionals.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, the fact that that game took a long time, and let's remember how that game started for Jack Carter, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the game was going to be over on turn 3. And
that's true, I did too.
It drug out. We got to this point. It just went for such a long time, and Raymond was able to come out on top. And Jack is the one who I would favor slightly in this matchup. He's got the Clara and the Palpad, really just 2 key cards. But it turns out that the Roxanne for Raymond maybe helped him out a little bit more than we would have expected.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's see what Jack Carter, I don't want to speak too soon, but hopefully let's see what Jack can do with a favorable startup here going into game 2. As you said, maybe favored a little bit in this matchup, so we'll see if the tables can turn here. But as we can see, so much damage being lined up here by Raymond Long.
Yeah, Raymond making sure that he's leaving enough damage on that Raikou that it doesn't get KO'd, that it's hanging around with just a little bit of HP so that on this final turn, this game-winning play could happen. Nest Ball for Sableye, attach the energy, retreat, and there we go.
Take all of those knockouts here and all 4 prize cards for the win from Raymond Long. Yeah, that was a bit of a surprising turnout of our game 1, Chip. But as you said, I mean, that start was wild for Jack Carter. I mean, essentially 2 useless turns in the beginning stages of the match. So I think I didn't get too big of a peek at the hand from Jack Carter, but I know there's at least a Sableye in the active position.
Ooh. Sableye is kind of one of the more annoying starters, to be honest. And I'm curious to see here if Jack chose to go first or second.
Oh, no.
Looking at these prizes, what do you see?
I see a lot of Pokemon here on Jack Carter's side, including that one of Cramorant. And as we said, in this matchup, it's sort of a race to damage, a race to the prize cards for both of these players. So that Cramorant being in the prize card is very awkward because that is your initial kind of early game attacker a lot of times in this matchup. But here we go, kicking off our game 2 between these players in our Masters Finals here in Peoria. It's going to be starting over on Raymond Long's side.
So Jack did choose to go second here. Of course, you get to choose after losing game 1 if you want to go first or second in game 2. And Jack has chosen to go second. This is definitely a point of contention amongst Lost Box players. There's kind of 2 schools of thought. If you go first, you're more likely to be the first person to attack with Sableye. But if you go second, you have the opportunity to attack turn 1 with Cramorant and get ahead in the prize trade right away.
Chip.
And as we saw in the prize cards for Jack Carter, there was that one copy of Cramorant. Now, Jack does play
Hisuian Heavy
Ball.
There's
And
possibilities.
has those Pokemon V, has those 4 Seal Stones. So there is a decent amount of possibility that we could still see the Cramorant attack, but we'll see how these prize cards get laid out here for Raymond.
I was so scared for a second, Chip. I was like, wait, did Raymond Long not put out prize cards? But they're just being reshuffled here for that Hisuian Heavy Ball on Raymond Long's side.
Yeah, a couple energy cards in the prizes for Raymond, but nothing really too bad. Flower selecting now. I think one of those cards was Radiant Greninja.
All right, well, if it's the Radiant Greninja, it's going to the hand here off that Flower selecting. Psychic Energy going into the Lost Zone. Definitely something Raymond wants to keep track of. We're going to see the Pokestop, but just one card here, a Comfey and a Sableye going into the discard pile.
Pretty useless card to get here at this point.
Yeah.
Super Rod is great at the end of the game. Not very strong in the beginning.
You just use the Super Rod now to shuffle those Pokemon back in, right?
The combos are unbelievable.
3 cards now in the Lost Zone here for Raymond. Radiant Greninja going to join the field here.
Does choose to Lost Vacuum right away. I really like this decision. Pokestop can be so strong for any Lost Box deck on turn 1. Gives you so much dig for the Battle VIP Pass, for the Nest Ball. Use that Lost Vacuum. Get it out of there. Your opponent doesn't get to utilize it. And, of course, you fuel your own Lost Zone.
Very nice indeed. Jack Carter, first turn for Jack, which means Battle VIP Pass is online here. Going to get 2 Pokemon onto the field. And first off, looking through what is in the prize cards and going to realize pretty quickly that there's quite a few Pokemon in there.
Yeah, the Cramorant being in there is definitely the one that's going to stand out on this first search. Of course, you want to check your energy cards as well. I do have to say, it is nice to see at least that already things are starting a little bit better for Jack Carter with that Battle VIP Pass.
A little bit better indeed. I mean, anything's better than just a draw pass, I would say, Chip, for sure. So Battle VIP Pass, going to get some Pokemon out here. Hopefully get some cards into the hand after some switching effects, which we already see in the hand. Multiple switch cards there. Going to go in with a Nest Ball as well as that Battle VIP
Triple
Pass.
Comfey.
Yeah, Triple Comfey. Definitely much better start here for Jack Carter on the initial turn of this game on this side. Of course, going second, so you still have the ability to play a supporter as well. Always looking for that Colress's Experiment to line up your hand even more with cards, but we'll see if that is something Jack Carter can do this turn.
Jack's hand is honestly super good. There's switch carts and Comfeys, of course, in play. There's a Colress Experiment in the hand as well, a Pokestop even.
Oh my goodness.
And this is how you know right here that Jack's hand is really good. Colress's Experiment in the Lost Zone immediately. You know he's got something cooking over there.
Yeah, Colress's Experiment going to the Lost Zone and the switch cart going to the hand off of that first flower selecting. We're also going to see a Pokestop and a Super Rod from going to the Lost Zone as well.
And did you see what Jack found? A pretty important card here, that Hisuian Heavy Ball.
Oh, absolutely amazing.
Honestly, Jack might have a strong enough hand where you leave the Cramorant and the prizes and you go get Radiant Greninja. That is a possibility here. We could see Radiant Greninja targeting down 2 low HP Pokemon in order to get 2 prize cards on turn 1. We'll see if he can pull it off. Let's see which Pokemon he grabs here off the Heavy Ball. He's playing it right now.
This game 2 already turning out to be extremely exciting, but it's going to be the safe route here. That Cramorant coming out of the prize cards.
Yeah, definitely the more reasonable play. It would have been more exciting, of course, to see the Radiant Greninja on turn 1. But this is really all you need. Raymond just has 1 Comfey in play, and that's the main thing you care about KOing this. Sableye is not going to be doing anything next turn for Raymond. Take out this Comfey and just get ahead in the game.
Yep, get ahead in the game, limit your opponent from that extra draw there from the flower selecting, and of course stacking those cards into the Lost Zone. First to the prize cards for Jack Carter. We're over to Raymond's side of the field, promoting that Radiant Greninja first off here into the active position. What's the hand looking like, Chip?
He's keeping it a little hidden from me. I do see that Zamazenta. It's kind of the more unique card that Raymond plays, a strong attacker into opposing 2 prize decks. It is decent in the Lost Box matchup, but looks like that's all Raymond has. Bench Zamazenta and pass.
Not a single card added into the Lost Zone. No energy at all, no concealed cards there from Raymond Long, just the Zamazenta and over to Jack Carter, who has another Colress's Experiment, finding another Colress's Experiment.
Yeah, that's all 4 Colress found in the first couple of turns. Of course, 1 in the discard, 1 in play, and 1 in the Lost Zone. And I would say it probably makes sense that Jack was a little more willing to let go of that first Colress's Experiment into the Lost Zone because he does play the POW Pad, a way to get a couple Colress back so that even if he gets Rock Sand later in the game, he'll be able to get those pieces. Here we go, Pokestop, 3 item cards.
He's done it again multiple times on our stream and just running it back with this Pokestop. Jack Carter is a Pogo gamer indeed. We have the escape rope here. Zamazenta being brought up from Raymond Long's side of the field, and Comfey gonna pop off with this flower selecting as well, bringing our Lost Zone now up to 7. Mirage Gate
7.
active.
Mirage Gate is absolutely active. My question here, though, is can we get to 10?
Yes.
And I think we probably can. Switch cart into this other Comfey. That'll add 1 more, put you to 8, and then now you just need Lost Vacuum in order to get rid of your own Stadium card. That puts you to 10. We're going to see a turn 1 Cramorant from Jack and a turn 2 Sableye.
Wow, yeah, that is exactly how you want this deck to function indeed. Super Rod joining the Lost Zone here, adding us up to 8 now for Jack.
That is 8. Lost Vacuum is going to be able to make it happen. Here comes the Manaphy, solid card to get in play.
Yeah, definitely.
I see a couple 2 cards, and boo, I already see it. Lost Vacuum is in the hand.
We're going to do this Mirage Gate first here for Jack Carter, but wow, things are lining up beautifully here for Jack. Everything you want to see, especially after that game 1. Jack is having a turn of luck.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I mean, Raymond is the one who's kind of experiencing what Jack experienced in game number 1 at this point. Had a little better of a turn 1, but just really has not been able to get anything going. Playing this Lost Vacuum is going to do a few things. Of course, gets you to 10 cards in the Lost Zone, but maybe more importantly, takes the Pokestop out of play, so your opponent isn't able to utilize it.
Yep, no Pokestop to save Raymond Long as we've seen it on Jack Carter's side. Sableye in the active now. We're going to spread this damage out from Jack Carter here. 10 cards in the Lost Zone.
Yeah, we'll see where this damage goes. It's actually just going to be the 120 on the Radiant Greninja. Yep, Sableye's not a threat. You know what? Makes sense to me. Maybe taking a little book, a page out of Raymond's book, I should say, right? looking at this opportunity to just try to spread the damage. And now that you know as Jack that Raymond does indeed play Roxanne, you want to do what you can to play around it.
I love how Raymond Long took the dice from what was keeping track of the lost zone and just put it on
Doesn't
that
matter anymore.
Yeah, we're at 10. These dice could be reutilized here on the field. So Raymond Long playing that escape rope. Comfey going to join us on Jack Carter's side. And that's a pass?
Escape rope and pass attached
no.
to the active for Jack. Going to use now that flower selecting Sending Battle VIP pass, and it's just going to be a promotion of the Sableye.
Oh.
Yeah, here we go, and it's going to be 120 on Zamazenta.
How do you recover from here, Chip? Jack Carter absolutely running away with this game, too. Wow, this is awful for Raymond. What was the top deck? Anything we can work with?
It was a switch cart, which does technically mean Raymond doesn't immediately lose. As it stands with these Pokemon in play, 8 damage counters on the Sableye, 1 on Zamazenta, 1 on Radiant Greninja. That would be enough to close out the game, but the switch cart does add a little bit more healing, and that would put Jack just 10 HP, 10 damage away from winning the game with Sableye. So, yeah, Raymond would technically be still in it.
Technically still in it, but not looking good still, Chip. That is for sure. Just going to be that escape rope here for Raymond. And yeah, things are just looking very grim over here on the left side of the field. On the right side, though, Jack Carter, very happy, I'm sure, to be in this incredibly strong position here. Yeah,
this is kind of what you hope to see in the finals from time to time. It's a little unfortunate. You usually want to have good, solid competitive games, but in this spot, with so much on the line, $10,000 to first place, you absolutely take it whenever your opponent has a rough game.
Yep, we have...
Jack, of course, was on the other side of it last time.
Yeah, that's very true. We've upped everything here for our competitors. And yeah, $10,000 on the line between these players, as well as an auto invite into our World Championship at the end of the season. And Jack Carter's getting one step closer to that.
And Jack Carter also says, I'm not getting Roxanne. We're retreating into the Cramorant, and we are taking out that Sableye, going down to just 2 prize cards remaining. And let's see what you can do, Raymond DeLong.
Let's see what Raymond can do indeed. Going to use concealed cards to kick off the turn.
That's it. The game's over. Yeah, Raymond has nothing. We're going to game 3, boo.
Going to game 3 in our finals here in Peoria, Illinois. Incredible play in both of our games from our players. Unfortunately, though, both of the players on the opposing side didn't really have too much of a setup to work with there. Although I will say Jack Carter definitely swung back in that game 1 and made it extremely close. For Raymond Long in that game 2, there was just nothing to work with, Chip.
There really wasn't. And Jack wisely playing around the potential of the Roxanne, doesn't want to give Raymond any sort of comeback potential in this game. Just took the knockout with Cramorant here, when other people maybe would have been tempted, myself included, to just knock out that Radiant Greninja, take away the draw power. Raymond's one chance was this concealed cards. Could he find a basic Pokemon or a Nest Ball? And no, he could not.
Nothing at all. Just going to have to scoop things up for Jack Carter to tie things up here. 1-1 in our finals. All right, Chip, here's the question. How do you think this is going to pan out?
Not really sure. And it's going to depend on if Raymond is the one that wants to choose to go first or second here. I will say Raymond's list is probably a little bit less consistent as far as pulling off the turn 1 Cramorant attack. So really, honestly, as Raymond, you may want to choose to go first to try to give yourself the best chance to maybe pull off a Greninja play on turn number 2. Or do you just have to hope to be fortunate enough to get that first attack off when you are the one going second? Let's see what Raymond chooses.
Well, I'm pretty sure from what Jack Carter just said, he was saying, I'm first, I'm going first, and I think Raymond Long said yes. So I think Jack Carter might be going first here. We'll have to confirm that once the game starts. But before we can even start this game, we have to resolve this mulligan. Jack Carter has 1 mulligan so far, which means until Jack can get a basic Pokemon in play here, Raymond Long is going to be drawing cards for each time Jack has to shuffle up to get that basic.
And when you're going first in the Lost Box Mirror, the last thing you want to do is give your opponent more mulligans, more cards to work with, because that just makes it all the more likely that they'll be able to pull off the turn 1 Cramorant attack.
That is very true.
Another mulligan.
Another one. Oh, just as we spoke of it, Chip, that's going to be 2 mulligans now for Jack Carter, which means Raymond's going to have 2 extra draws here in this next game coming up. Could that be the difference to turn things into a win potentially here for Raymond Long? Will Raymond be another Canadian player here to take down a regional championship with Lost Box Kyogre?
Yeah, it would be 2 in a row. We'll see if Raymond can make it happen. And with a 60-card Pokemon TCG deck, every single extra card you get to draw is just a little bit higher of a percentage. And you're going to be able to do what you want. So if what you want to do is pull off the turn 1 Cramorant attack every single time you get 1 extra mulligan card, it just boosts that chance a little bit more.
Yeah, definitely some nerves, I'm sure, heading into this game. Everything has come down to this. It's game 3 between these players. After the end of this game, we're going to have our champion here. Will it be Jack Carter or is it going to be Raymond Long? Let's take a look at these prize cards.
Yeah, we see a couple of switch cart for Jack. That's less than ideal. Raymond's Roxanne is not great either. Pidgeot V, the 1 single Pokemon V in the prizes. In addition, that could be bad if you need to rely on that Forest Seal Stone. And for Jack, Pokestop is finally starting to fail him.
I mean, it's turn 1, right? So there's no way that could have been 3 items, right? That would have been wild to see. But Jack Carter going to bench this Dragonite V to attach the Forest Seal Stone and use it immediately, opting to get the board state set up as much as possible here. So going to select a single card, any card from the deck off of this Forest Seal Stone.
Got any predictions here, Boo? Got to be that.
Yes. Battle VIP Pass. I was like, are we going to say it at the same time, Tim?
Sure
Battle
enough.
VIP Pass coming into play here to get these Pokemon out onto the field for Jack. Valuing the initial startup, we've seen how important that is, especially since Raymond has gotten those extra 2 cards, as we've talked about, Chip. We'll see if those 2 cards were beneficial here for Raymond, especially going second.
Yeah, it's really the only card worth burning your Forest Seal Stone for on turn 1 when you're going first. Is just making sure you can get set up, go with a switch cart play, try to pull off the flower selecting so you can get a few cards in the Lost Zone. Now, if you are the player going first, something you can try to do as the Lost Box player is put 2 Pokemon in play that can withstand a hit from Cramorant.
Yeah.
So something like the Radiant Greninja, sending that to the active spot so that your opponent isn't going to be able to just easily take a prize card. And then maybe something like the Dragonite here also could eat up a hit.
Yep, it looks like there was a little bit of clarification there of something, but we're on this flower selecting currently here for Jack Carter. Choosing between 2 cards, it's going to be the Mirage Gate going into the Lost Zone as our first card for that Psychic Energy going into the hand.
And Escape Rope will allow another flower selecting to be utilized. Also still has an energy card in hand, wants to hang on to it in case maybe Radiant Greninja is found. Speaking of which, Nest Ball can fetch it out.
Nest Ball can fetch it out, but the Sableye would have to go into the Lost Zone for Jack Carter. So making that decision now, do I want the Sableye to stick around or that Nest Ball? Sableye is going to go into the hand, Nest Ball into the Lost Zone. 2 cards now in the Lost Zone here for Jack Carter to start things off. Energy attached to that Comfey, and we're over to Raymond Long. Pokestop still in play.
Yeah.
Could see some utilization here from Raymond to get into even more cards. And here we go, Battle VIP Pass for Raymond Long on the left side of our field, all ready to start off this turn for Raymond.
Yep, going to be really solid. Of course, Raymond having extra cards to work with from those mulligans. The question is going to be, can he pull off the turn 1 Cramorant attack?
Yeah. That is the question indeed. I would hope that with how many cards are in the hand, hopefully we can see a lot happen this turn for Raymond. For this turn 2, get the lead on the prize cards, leading this game in total. We'll have to see, but of course, Raymond's going to keep track of everything that's in the prize cards here after taking a first look through the deck. No Pokemon have come out yet. Just keeping track of resources.
A ton of energy cards in that hand right now for Raymond Long. I do think I saw Comfey as well. Not too bad to have too many energy cards. This list does play, a bit more than a traditional Lost Box list. Usually we're used to seeing like 8 or 9, something like that, which of course on Jack's side we do see the 8. All the way up to 11 when you're playing Kyogre. That's what you kind of have to do.
Yep, lots of energy there, but I guess more energy that are in the hand, potentially more items off Pokestop? We'll have to see. Comfey gonna come down here off that Battle VIP pass and still just searching through this deck for Raymond. It's kind of a long initial deck search, but Cramorant's gonna be found for that Battle VIP pass.
Yeah, everything's on the line at this point. One single game separates either of these players from becoming the regional champion and from their Worlds invite from $10,000. And as Raymond Long, you're feeling good playing 2 VIP pass when you're going first.
Oh, I'm feeling
Second,
good.
excuse me.
I'm feeling good seeing 2 Battle VIP pass as well. I mean, you got to think, this is a card that can only be played on your very first turn of the game. So getting to play 2 is even better here, Raymond. I'm sure very happy to see that. Manaphy going to join the field off of that second Battle VIP pass, as well as another Comfey. So lots of Pokemon being established here for Raymond Long.
It does find that Comfey, a pair of them in play now. We just need a Colress. We need a couple of flower selectings. Let's see if Raymond has the pieces to make it happen this turn. No Colress in the prizes this game. First time in this finals set he has not prized a Colress experiment.
Yeah, which is great. You want to see that card as much as you possibly can in this game, or really any game that you play. It's so pivotal to this deck. So we'll see how Raymond chooses to play the rest of this turn going forward. Going to start with the concealed cards here to draw into 2 additional cards.
I didn't quite catch what they were. I think one may have been a
like
nest ball.
Some items for sure.
Yeah. Could have actually even been the Kyogre.
What? I thought I saw items. Maybe a Pokemon. I don't know.
We'll have to see. Raymond is definitely keeping the hand close to the chest here.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely one of the questions to keep in mind is when is the optimal time to use the Pokestop this turn?
That is a difficult decision indeed. We're going to see it was the energy attachment onto that Radiant Greninja for the pivot out of the active position. Comfey going to join us there now, and a Mirage Gate going to go into the Lost Zone. That is 1 card here in the Lost Zone. We're trying to get to 4 for that Cramorant to be online, and this next flower selecting is going to bring us up 1 more.
I don't see the Colress experiment, though, Boo.
Oh, no.
I think he's maybe going to miss out here.
Oh, there it is,
there's
Chip.
the Colress.
There it is, but not in the way you want to see it. It's being discarded off of the Pokestop here from Raymond. No way.
Just 1 card away, and he had another Comfey.
No. That is quite sad to see, Chip. It's just going to be the escape rope now for Raymond, and Jack going to have to promote first off of this escape rope. Sheesh. We needed it, but not in that way, Chip. Not in that way for sure.
Looks like Jack is content sending up the Sableye, potentially letting it go down to a Cramorant hit. We see the 2 cards. One of them was a Forest Sealstone. That's not going to be useful with your Pidgeot in the prizes.
Yeah.
Choosing to ditch the Energy Recycler instead, though, keeping this piece around in case the Pidgeot is found later on.
Yep.
Just a pass.
No.
The whole reason Raymond chose to go second was to try to be the first one to attack, and he's unable to make it happen. Pokestop now being used on Jack's end.
Yeah, I was about to say, is this about to be 3 here? But honestly, 2 items to the hand here for Jack Carter is incredible, as well as a Colress's experiment, something Raymond wanted so bad on that turn. And Jack Carter's going to get it on this turn. And easy choices here. Battle VIP pass, 2 of them being chucked into that Lost Zone, bringing us up to 4 cards now here for Jack, which means Jack's Cramorant or future Cramorant is online if he chooses to go that way.
Yeah, and I wonder if Jack, it would have to be like a double vacuum play, which is pretty hard to do since you've already used Forest Sealstone. I'm trying to think if he could get the Sableye this turn. It's pretty unlikely. I think it is technically possible. You would need to burn a lot of switch cards, which may not be worth it. You may be content trying to just be able to take that first knockout with Cramorant. Yeah,
we'll see, though. Who knows? We're not going to see it until Jack Carter chooses what route to go. Nest Ball going to bring out Manaphy onto the field. 4 Pokemon on this bench. 1 more slot open. Escape Rope going to be played now. Raymond Long easily just bringing up another Comfey into the active, but this is going to allow for Jack to switch into a Comfey as well and get this flower selecting.
I think there could definitely be an argument for Raymond to have sent up the Radiant Greninja there, something that can withstand a hit from the potential attacker later on, the Cramorant. Switch cart now being utilized. That's going to be 1 less heal option later on.
One less heal option down. We'll definitely have to keep track of these cards that are going into both the lost zone and the discard pile because they come up later in this match in the late game. Raiko V going into the lost zone here.
Now, one thing that is definitely worth mentioning that Raymond has kind of done to himself, he's bench locked himself.
Uh-oh.
There's no space for Sableye. So if Jack can get to Sableye pretty quickly and just start attacking, he doesn't have to take a single prize card. He can go through this entire game without taking a single prize card and just spread damage turn after turn after turn with Lost Mine. And then at the very end of the game, place 2 damage counters on each of these 6 Pokemon to close out the game. You have to do a little bit of math, see if it's possible.
Math,
it depends on how many switch carts your opponent is down and how quickly they are able to pull off the attack themselves. We'll see what Raymond can do here. Colress's experiment being started off.
Yeah, that is definitely risky. I mean, we talked about that in game 1, Chip, how you always want to have that slot open for your Sableye, and that is currently not an option here for Raymond's Long. Going into this Colress's experiment now, deciding what to put into the Lost Zone. Just one turn too late, unfortunately. And yeah, we're making a tough decision, it looks like, here for Raymond.
You're debating what to hang on to. This is going to put him up to 5 cards in the Lost Zone. Just a couple Comfeys away from a 7 play, potentially. Does lose the Pokestop and Mirage Gate, 2 pretty strong cards.
Wow. I wonder what was kept to put those 2 into the Lost Zone.
At least one other Colress, it looked like.
Oh, okay. Makes sense. Flower selecting here. Raymond, show us the cards, please.
Yeah, Mirage Gate's definitely less valuable in this matchup than it is in something like a Miraidon or a Lugia, something like that. You just are a little less strained on finding multiple energy every single turn. You're kind of fine just trying to find one Psychic. So usually in a Lost Box mirror match, you're only playing like 2 Mirage Gate a game anyway.
Hisui Heavy Ball going into the Lost Zone here, bringing us up to 6 now.
Yeah, Hisuian Heavy Ball could have found that Pidgeot. Of course, no bench space to put it down.
There's no space, no. It's going to be a retreat here off that Comfey into the Cramorant. Going to take a knockout first to the prize cards on Raymond's side, but again, no space for a Sableye currently. Jack going to start us off with a flower selecting the choices between a Lost Vacuum and another item card.
A Super Rod, it looked like. So going to be kind of a tough call. You need your Super Rod to keep getting Sableye back turn after turn after turn, but Jack does play 4 Super Rods. So even though one is already in the Lost Zone, I think you can afford to lose another one. And keeping the Lost Vacuum around here does guarantee that you get to 7 or 10 in the Lost Zone right now. If he has a way to get another Comfey, then this makes sense too. I don't see it just yet. He actually can with the Clara. Okay.
Oh, okay.
That is kind of an important resource to burn right now, though.
Yeah, these cards are going to go straight into the hand here for Jack. Going to be used 2 energy and just that Comfey going into the hands. But you're right, Chip, that resource is now down. Definitely have to keep track of that. Comfey coming back out here into an escape rope. Raymond's going to bring up a Comfey of their own. Let's see what this flower selecting brings us. It's going to be the option between a Water Energy or a Pal Pad. But Jack Carter is going to opt to take that Pal Pad, and that's going to bring us up to 10 cards now in the Lost Zone. I did a quick count here, and our Lost Zone is up to 10 officially here, which means Sableye is able to function as long as there's a Psychic Energy attached as well. And I don't think that's going to be any issue here because we have Mirage Gate from Jack Carter.
So I think Jack is just short. I'm trying to do the math here. Just short of being able to pull off the play where he just uses Sableye turn after turn after turn and then eventually clears the board. 520 HP on Raymond's side of the field. And
oh my gosh.
Potentially 4 switch cards. Now, if Raymond has already burned a switch card, that does change things quite a bit if there is the need to, because if there's 520 HP in play and then 120 HP that can be healed from switch card, that means you need to do 640 damage before Raymond takes all 5 prize cards.
Gotcha.
You need to spread that much damage, and that would take a little over 5 turns to accomplish. But if there's the need to do 610 damage, and there's 12 cards in the lost zone. You get closer, it's just still barely over 5. So let's see exactly how it's going to break down. Maybe Jack does need to be a little more aggressive after the prizes and try to cash in on some damage before the switch card comes into play. Going to be interesting to see how it plays out, Boo.
Yeah, that is a lot of math, and I do not envy either of these players, to be honest, having to think about all of that in each of these turns. But looks like Jack Carter is going to spread out this damage initially here, and that Zamazenta is going to go into the lost zone for Raymond Long off of this Courses Experiment.
We'll see how many healing options are available. Plenty of cards in hand, lots to
look at
work
the
with.
hands.
Yeah, I mean, both of
What
these players,
the?
honestly, building up pretty large hands. Not quite there for Jack, as similar as it is to Raymond, who is going to draw now with Radiant Greninja.
Oh my goodness. Yep, drawing into an additional 2 cards. It feels like there's just everything in the hand here for Raymond. So it's really just up to Raymond as of now what route to take from here on out, because it just seems like there's so many cards in hand. Flower selecting, going to give another option here to Raymond.
Yeah, I think that Artisan was in there. I feel like you can get rid of that pretty freely. And most likely only helps your opponent. Looks like Metal Energy is going to go down instead, though. Could have been something else, not the Artisan.
Yeah, potentially. It's so hard to see these cards,
yeah.
so we're keeping track of that lost zone, though. Looks like it's up to 9 now here for Raymond.
It actually may have been the Beach Court, which is maybe a little better to keep around.
Oh, yes.
Give yourself that pivot. And especially if you are at 9 cards. Of course, getting to 10 here, not super relevant. Can't get Sableye in play.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
bench is full currently.
This is the mission right now for Raymond, is put the pressure on, take a knockout with Cramorant every single turn. If Raymond ever misses a knockout, then that gives Jack pretty much the guaranteed win to go with this Sableye play. So if there's ever an escape rope played and Jack just pushes up like the Dragonite, you don't really care about the damage on Dragonite. Your opponent's not going to be able to bench Sableye to capitalize on that. And then they've missed a knockout, and then you can pull off that Sableye play we were mentioning.
That is wild, Chip. So it seems like what you're saying is that Raymond should have kept that space open for a Sableye, huh?
He was really digging for the turn 1 Cramorant attack.
Yeah, that's true. Digging for it, did not get there. So sad to see. Jack Carter flying through these cards now here. Lots going into the discard. Lost Zone has already been at 10. We see another energy on that second Sableye. Tons of resources here for Jack Carter already on the field. And we even have that pivot option on that Comfey. So going to jump right out of the active into a Sableye here for Jack and into this Lost Mine. Let's see where this damage goes, Chip.
Probably another 40 onto this Comfey, and then you've got 80 more to work with. Actually going to be 60 onto this Comfey and 60 onto the Radiant Greninja. Draw for turn now for Raymond.
Draw for turn into that giant stack that is the hand here for Raymond. Looks like going to take a glance at the discard pile here on Jack Carter's side, keeping track of all of these resources that Jack has already used, kind of trying to map out here what Jack has gone through. I mean, you got to think you're keeping track of your own resources and your lost zone and your opponent's resources and their lost zone. It's a lot. And all this math, Chip, I can't handle it.
There's a lot going on. A lot at play, a lot at stake as well for these players.
I mean,
so much on the line, high pressure, and you're trying to do all this math as well. I feel like I'm taking the SAT again.
Very true. But honestly, it's not surprising to see both of these decks in the finals here, because you got to think your skill level has to be pretty high here to bring this deck and bring it all the way into the finals.
Yeah, both of these decks really difficult to play, especially the Kyogre builds. There's so much at play with the Kyogre version of the deck specifically. And Jack really does have some interesting and unique cards in the list. That Echoing Horn we've mentioned has the Palpad, the Clara, all those things that are things that can be useful here in this matchup. Clara has been utilized. I think as Jack, you definitely are going to try to find that Palpad pretty soon. You want to get that piece back. A Super Rod has gone down to the discard pile, 1 in the Lost Zone as well.
The Palpad, I think, is already in hand for Jack,
that would be good. That would be good.
I'm pretty sure it's in the hand already. So, yeah, that is definitely good indeed. I mean, just look at these board states right now, Chip. So much damage over here on the left side. Raymond Long side of the field, and that is not what you want to be looking at, especially this is our 3rd game. This is the last game we're going to see here in Peoria.
Has there been
I don't.
I haven't even used this one.
Yeah, I don't think there's been a concealed cards. This is kind
Didn't
of
rotate.
Yeah, this is one of the
back.
issues with turning your Pokemon upside down. I think potentially to signify that their ability's been used. You got to remember to flip them back after your turn's over.
True. Very true indeed. So that's going to be the concealed cards here from Raymond Long. The hand much bigger than the deck even is at this point for Raymond.
240 damage on Raymond Long's side of the field. That means there's 280 HP remaining. So we're a few turns away from Sableye potentially sweeping. Of course, Switch Cart, absolutely something Raymond wants to keep in mind. Energy Recycler being played. A bunch of energy cards going back into the deck.
All right, so those are out of the discard pile, going to be shuffled back in here. Add some more cards into the deck because it was getting pretty slim there, but keeping track of all these resources. Mirage Gate going to at least accelerate 2 energy. I guess it could be 1, but 2 energy out onto the field here for Raymond Long.
Yeah, the attachment to the active Cramorant probably signifies a manual retreat into something and then a switch cart, I would have to guess. I mean, you could manually power up Spit Innocently. It's a
but why?
A little unnecessary. Does it mean you do double damage, lost provisions, and the energy attached? Do you get to attack twice?
I guess we've never seen that happen, huh, Chip?
Not going to happen today, though. Retreating the energy off, sending up the Comfey. We'll be able to utilize Flower Selecting, and then also likely heal this Pokemon with a Switch Cart.
Yep, these are the cards we've been talking about here to get some of that damage off the field for Raymond Long. Another card into the Lost Zone, and here's that Switch Cart, healing up that Comfey into another Comfey. Another Flower Selecting as well into an additional 2 cards. Didn't get to see what either of them were.
You think we're going to see another Switch Cart?
Another one.
Sure enough.
Here we go. Some more healing here of the board state from Raymond. Another Flower Selecting. It's going to be a Water Energy and another card.
Yep, just trying to get as much healing going as possible, using these switch cards, trying to deny this play from Jack Carter.
Yeah, all the pressure is on, and I'm sure Raymond is feeling it in this moment for sure.
Needs to just ensure he can continue to attack turn after turn after turn. Just a little too much HP hanging around. Checking the cards in hand. Raymond has taken a couple prize cards at this point.
Yeah.
If he takes another one this turn, he will be getting Roxanne, but he would be in Roxanne range. Of course, we know Jack does not play Roxanne. It looks like another switch card being played here too.
Another switch card. How many? Is that all of them?
That's
Chip?
3 being played this turn.
Okay.
The question is, did Raymond play one earlier in the game? And I'm not sure if that's the case or not.
So we'll have to see if that's all of them or there's still one out there. But we're going to see a Super Rod here for Raymond, shuffling even more cards back into the deck. Looks like 2 energy, that metal and the water energy.
Yeah, 150 damage now in play. Raymond effectively erased 75% of one of those lost mines by playing 3 switch cart all at once.
But you can only do that so much here. There's no Radiant Serena around. It's just switch carts for those healing effects of Raymond Long's Pokemon. And there's only so many cards that you can play, specifically 4 copies of each card in a 60-card deck of Pokemon. So Super Rod being utilized here. We're seeing the shuffle now from Raymond. Lots of cards being played. This is a long turn. And actually, speaking of long turns, the time here as well, Chip.
It is whittling down, and that might be something to consider here as well. If Jack does not have enough turns available to pull off this play, the time rules are absolutely something that are going to come into effect here. And once time gets called, we'll kind of go through what that may look like for these players. We'll see how it plays out, though. Raymond now playing yet another Super Rod. This has been such a long turn.
Yes, it has been extremely long. That's why I looked at the clock and was like, whoa, this has, honestly, it's been a long turn, but this has flown by, Chip. I cannot believe we are at 1 minute left here in our Masters Finals. This is our Game 3, so we've gone through a lot in all of these games so far. But that Cramorant keeping things up here with the knockouts, going down to 3 prize cards left for Raymond Long. Now it's Jack Carter's turn.
Honestly, as Jack, I think you need to just draw an attack. You need to make sure you are not turn 0, pretty much. You want Raymond to be turn 0, absolutely. I don't know that you have time to play this chorus, to be honest.
There's
35 seconds remaining on the clock.
Going quick, but yeah, it's coming down to 30 seconds here for Jack Carter.
He needs to attack before time expires and place his damage very quickly. You do not have time to play this Hisuian Heavy Ball.
No! Yeah, the Hisuian Heavy Ball especially takes so much time out of this game.
Yeah.
I'm shaking, Chip.
This is going to be a big deal. Yeah, Jack is going to be turn 0. Time is almost certainly just going to expire here. 6 seconds, 5 seconds now remaining on the clock.
Wow.
Jack will be turn 0, meaning Raymond's turn 1, Jack is turn 2, and Raymond is turn 3. And we are in single elimination. There are no ties. We must crown a champion. We can't cut that medal in half. Give 1 half to each of these guys. Someone has to wear it home. So the way things work is after +3 turns, whoever is ahead on prize cards wins the game, and subsequently, since we're in game 3, would win the match and become our regional champion, and that heavily favors Raymond Long in this spot.
Heavily. It is confirmed that Jack Carter is our turn 0.
So as Jack, you got to start taking prize cards. You got to try to tie this game up. You got to get to yourself to a position where you can be ahead on prize cards as the game is ending.
Yeah, this is definitely tough here. Sableye going to come back out for Jack Carter off of that Nest Ball after the Super Rod as well. So still getting things going here, but as you said, Chip, yeah, we need to start seeing some prize cards here for Jack Carter. Otherwise, things are going to look quite sad over here on the right side.
Attachment to the Comfey retreating now into Sableye. Lost mine. Let's see. Prize cards taken, spreading more damage. Which route does Jack go? You don't necessarily have to take the prize cards this turn. What you can do is spread the damage and then just make sure you take enough prize cards next turn. And you don't have to take all 6. If you take 5 and leave Raymond with no real option to close out the game, that could work too.
Yeah, this is tough here for Jack. He has to execute this perfectly here to be able to carry out this game. This is turn 0 in our Masters Finals. We've gone to time. This is the turn where Jack needs to really calculate everything as carefully as possible to lock up this win and be crowned a regional champion here. So Jack is going to make sure everything is accounted for in this match here, but the math especially.
Yeah, I'm trying to think through things, and there may be one more switch cart floating around here for Raymond.
Yeah, true. We don't even know at this point in time.
I think.
Oh, no.
Yeah, we're going to see 60 being placed on the active and 60 on the Radiant Greninja. I don't think where the damage goes matters too much. You just want to make sure that, you know, you wouldn't want to put just like 2 damage counters on these Comfey that have 1 apiece, because that would lead to your opponent being able to switch cart all the damage off of one of those Pokemon, something like that.
Yeah, completely negates that damage in its entirety, really. So, yeah, here we go. Raymond.
Yeah, really thinking through it.
Yeah, really thinking. I mean, honestly, this is turn 1 now in our timed match here. Raymond turn 1. Of course, Jack can be 2, and Raymond gets the last turn here. So everything needs to go perfectly here for either of our players to be able to secure this win.
Looks like Radiant Greninja about to be used. Not too many cards left in the deck either here for Raymond Long. There is a Super Rod. I don't see a switch card there in the hand. Let me see if I can. 1, 2, 3.
I know, we gotta add these up too. This is the one element we're missing currently.
I may have seen it in the lower part of his discard pile, so I don't think there is a switch card left. So Jack needs to take 5 prizes next turn, and the way the damage is placed, I'm not sure he'll be able to do that. 10 on the Radiant Greninja, then 3 onto the Manaphy. You've got 4 left to work with. You put 4 onto that Comfey. That's 1. And then you have 4 left to work with, and you can't take another prize card. You can take 3 next turn.
It's not enough.
And then if you just finish the turn by not going down to at least, I guess you need to take 4 prize cards, I should say, to at least tie the game. But then Raymond just needs to take 1 on his turn. So you really need to take 5 as Jack. You can't do it.
Goodness. could this all come down to the fact that that Hisuian heavy ball was played? Like, that would be wild.
It would have been one more
Chip.
turn for Jack to work with.
It would have been, but in this circumstance, Raymond gets that turn here. So this is honestly coming down to the wire here, Chip, for both of our players. Artisan going to be played here from Raymond.
Yeah, and I think really that there was just too much HP in play on Raymond's side of the field. Jack went for this Sableye line, but even if there was just one switch card down, the fact that there was 3 remaining, Raymond had already taken 1 prize card, and Jack was going to take 5 turns to pull off, over 5 turns, I should say, to pull off the full Sableye board wipe. And you don't have over 5 turns if your opponent only has 5 prizes left.
That is very true, Chip, and I think it's pretty interesting as well to see that the Cramorant has been carrying the full weight here. That's the only Pokemon that has been attacking here after Raymond Long locked up the bench, has just been leading with this Cramorant turn after turn, and once again going to take another prize card. Raymond Long, 2 prize cards left, and Jack Carter. How does it turn out, Chip? Like,
Jack's got to take 4 prizes this turn. Otherwise, Raymond just has to draw and pass. Literally, Raymond can just draw and pass.
And win.
And then we'll be past 3 turns. Raymond's ahead on prizes. He becomes the regional champion here in Peoria. It's coming down to the wire here, Boo. And Jack's thinking through anything he can do, any play he can make happen. At this point, it doesn't even matter if you send up Dragonite and, like, attack with that for, you know, knockout on the Cramorant or anything like that. It's got high HP, but it just, the HP doesn't matter. Raymond's just ahead in the game, ahead on the prize cards.
I cannot believe it has come down to this, Chip. Is it going to be the fact that we've come down to time and these are the rules in place? There has to be a winner here. We're that much closer to seeing who that is, and it's looking like Raymond Long. Unless Jack can pull something together here on this turn, Clara is going to bring 2 energy and that Sableye back into the hand, as well as that Psychic energy being attached back to the Sableye. Switch cart, but...
Maybe the one play for Jack would have literally been to escape rope and then hope your opponent sends up a Pokemon that doesn't have an energy card on it. Just hope that Raymond makes a mistake and can't retreat it. But, I mean, Raymond's not going to mess that up at this point. And honestly, what am I saying? It just doesn't even matter because Raymond's already taken 4 prize cards. Like, I'm trying to, I'm digging deep to try to find the lines here, Boo. And after Jack attacks, all Raymond has to do is pass. And the game is over. Raymond will be our Peoria regional champion.
All right, let's see. Jack Carter trying to add things up here. I mean, granted, it is a ton of math. So this is a lot. And you have to think, too, like, the mental fortitude you have to go through 2 days of competition. That's going to be it, though. We see the extension of the fist bump. Raymond Long is our champion here in Peoria. Another Canadian taking down this championship title, our 2nd ever regional of the 2024 season, and that's going to Raymond Long.
With the Lost Box Kyogre. What a run, what a finish. Congratulations to both of these finalists. Jack as well had a really solid, straightforward, consistent Lost Box deck and went for such a cool play here in the finals. Board locked opponents, you go for the Sableye, spread the damage, but there was just too much HP in play. The healing power of Switch cards, who would have thought, Boo, is able to